Yay. Welcome, welcome. So beautiful, such beautiful women here tonight, both internally beautiful, externally beautiful. We are here to celebrate two very special Hilulas. One is the Alter, but the first Chabad Rebbe of Shner Zalman ben Bach. He's the one who founded Hasidus Chabad. He's the one who made the Tanya, wrote the Tanya. He's the one who wrote the Shulchan Aruch Harav. It's a whole Shulchan Aruch. And it's like he's this, because of him, we have so much life, chayut in our life now, because we're able to serve Hashem with lots of joy, because I think that was his whole goal really in Tanya. He doesn't say it at the beginning that it was to joy, but I think I learned Tanya. I've been learning every day with the Chavrusa, with Esther Ginsburg for years and years, and I don't know, maybe 20 years. We learn every day the chitas usually of the day, the Tanya of the day. And because of her, I had to learn it a little bit better because I had to explain it to her. So I had to learn it. So thanks to her, I focused a little bit. But not all parts of Tanya are easy to understand, and not all parts of Tanya we're able to understand. But most of it is accessible. There's so many books now available on Tanya, and the different parts really are life-changing. And she keeps asking me, why do we have to know all these details? Like, why do we have to know who is like the different levels of a tzaddik and the different levels of a rasha and the different and levels of a benoni and who's what and what categories? Like, who cares? Like, not who cares, but who, like, what is the significance? What does it mean to us to have to know all the little ins and outs of the nuances of what it could be, what it couldn't be, and the back and forth? The Alter was a big genius. He based it on halacha, Kabbalah, Hasidus. Everything was like all enmeshed, and there's it's a huge, intricate, woven tapestry of all kinds of backgrounds, and footnotes, and philosophies and information all brought together to bring us to what he's giving us and handing us in a beautiful platter, something to help us serve Hashem. So my thought of that is because the Alter wants us to be able to serve Hashem with joy. He doesn't want us to get depressed. He doesn't want us to get upset if we're not a tzaddik, or we're not on this level, or we have drives and desires to do this and to do that, and we can get very frustrated if one day we're feeling like we're connected to Hashem, and the next moment we're feeling not connected, and one moment we're feeling like a tzaddik, and one moment we're feeling like a rasha. The Alter wants us to like get rid of all these senses that we're not good enough, and we're not doing enough, and we're not close to Hashem enough. He's giving us a way to serve Hashem from an internal way of recognizing we're not supposed to all be tzaddikim. At least we're not expected to all be tzaddikim. We could be at some point, but that's not our avodah. Our avodah is just to serve Hashem simply and sincerely in the moment with the tools that we have. And he gives us clearly what are our tools and what aren't our tools realistically. And not to keep judging ourselves that it's not good enough because we're not feeling like what we should be. And so he makes it clear what it could be, what we should expect. And it's like, that's the beauty of it. It's like you get more of a realistic picture. Otherwise, the will confuse us and make us think that we're not good and we're not doing a good job because he wants to make us just give up and say, we don't know how to do it. We can't do it right anyway, so who cares? I'm not good enough. I'm not religious. I'm not close to Hashem. I have too many other desires. Therefore, forget everything. And the Alter doesn't want us to do that. He wants us to just keep going, moving forward with the tools that we have, and to know that that's expected for us to not be angels and not to have be a tzaddik and not to be on high levels all the time. It's a reality check. Put it that way. So that was my little intro of Tanya and the Alter Rebbe. Tal was telling me that when she was taught what is a yortzeit, and it's her grandmother's yortzeit tonight, and her name is what? What is it again? Tzipor Bat Levi. And Tal is going to tell you after I speak about her grandmother, because this is too good to pass. How Tal's grandmother got her to become a balat tshuva, got her to become close to Torah. Because she told us the whole story of how her grandmother came to her in dreams after she passed away and asked Tal to give tzedakah in her memory and say kaddish in her memory and to do all kinds of things. And she kept instructing her and coming to her in dreams until Tal decided, okay, I'm doing all this, I might as well become religious. There must be something to it. So that was like 6 years ago. How long was it? 7 years ago. So yes, so she must have been a holy woman, a Holocaust survivor who suffered and came to Eretz Yisrael and built a beautiful family, and she has a big zchut. And she has a zchut that because of her, we're having this wonderful little farbrengen tonight, even though there's COVID and even though it was raining and even though it was like crazy, we're still here tonight together, and such a big miracle. So that's, and how did we decide about tonight? Tal took me out for my birthday. Thank you, Tal. And I had a Nigot Kodesh of the Rebbe. And I was telling her about a letter that I got that was for that day, for Tet Zayin Tevet, the 16th of Tevet. I said, I opened up the Rebbe's letter, and the Rebbe said, an answer to your letter for Tet Zayin Tevet. And that night was Tet Zayin Tevet. So she was like, wow, the Rebbe's letter is like, you got a letter like that? The Rebbe saying an answer to your letter for today's date, like of all the dates, there's 365 days in the year. I said, yes. So Tal said, okay, I want to write to the Rebbe too. I said, great, okay. So I said, but don't expect you to get an answer for today's date. That's not usually what happens. And then I was thinking, well, the Rebbe could do anything, but still, like, I didn't want her to have high expectations, like she's not getting an answer if she doesn't get today's date, right? Because it's not the highest level, right? Anyway, so Tal opens up the book. She writes a letter. She opens it up, and guess what? It was today's date. It was that day's date. Tet Zayin Tevet. Yeah, and it was a different letter, and it was. So, and the Rebbe was addressing some things that Tal was thinking about at that time, and gave her some instructions, which I hope she follows. Okay, yes, it's good advice. She got some good advice. Be'ezrat Hashem, it will help you and guide you and give you the strength that you need to make the decisions that you need in life to have a good life, a holy life, a happy life, a connected life. It should, Be'ezrat Hashem, give you strength. So Tal was also telling me that she had learned, or she had been told by somebody, I don't know who, and I don't know if there's a basis to this or not, but that maybe there is. I can't say or not. Maybe Tova would know. Tova's a big. She doesn't like me calling her a Rebbitzin, but Tova has children and grandchildren, great grandchildren, and many of them are rabbis or Rebbitzins. So, and she's a shadchan. Okay, she makes shidduchim. Okay, so you got a good asset over here for all of you here who are looking for shidduch. Yes, and Tova speaks Hebrew. Tova speaks Hebrew. So okay, so that was you got all these giggly girls over here. Okay, so Baruch Hashem. So Tova, did you ever hear that on the day of a yortzeit or hilula, the neshama goes up and gets judged? I never heard such a thing. No. Okay, this is what the Alter Rebbe, whose yortzeit is tonight. It's getting an aliyah. That's why we are doing things on the yortzeit. Yes. An aliyah, to get an aliyah. I never heard that either. Yes. So aliyah means the neshama goes higher. In Hebrew, aliyah, okay, you can get an aliyah. An aliyah for the Torah, it's an elevation. Aliyah, that your neshama goes higher. Different stages in Holam Haba. Yes. Okay. So every time on the yortzeit, especially if she has children and grandchildren and other people that are doing things for her neshama, then her neshama can go higher and higher and higher. Wow. Okay, so this is what the Alter Rebbe writes in Tanya. The Alter Rebbe's yortzeit is tonight. His lula is tonight. He writes in Tanya what goes on a hilula or yortzeit. What happens? He writes like this: Kol ma'asav. I'm going to read in Hebrew because there's some Hebrew speakers here. Kol ma'asav torato ve'avodato asher avad kol yemei chayav mitgale umeir b'bchinat gilui milemala lemata upoel yishot b'kerev haaretz. אוקיי, ועוד בעיקר שכולל הנתינת כוח על המשך הצמיחה ביתר שאת וביתר עוז לאחרי הסתלקותו, כתוצאה מהזריעה של כל מעשיו ותורתו ועבודתו אשר עבד כל ימי חייו. עד לצמיחה של הגאולה האמיתית והשלמה על ידי משיח צדקנו בדורנו זה, דור האחרון של הגלות ודור הראשון של הגאולה, כעדותו של נשיא דורנו שכבר כלו כל הקיצין והכל מוכן לסעודה של העתיד לבוא. שולחן ערוך עם סעודה של לוויתן ושעובר ויין המושמע. Okay, so I'll translate. Thank you. Okay, what is a hilula? The Alter Rebbe writes. The Alter Rebbe writes, Kol Masav, all the work of the deeds, all the deeds of the person whose yortzeit it is, all his Torah, all his service of Hashem, that he served Hashem with all the days of his life or her life, Mitgala is revealed. Meir shines in a gilui, in a revealed way, milamala lemata, from above to below, right? All the good deeds that, whatever effect it had spiritually in the higher realms, is now shining down from above to below, and Po'el Yeshua, it does unbelievable wonders in here in this physical world. So whatever your grandmother did, whatever the Alter Rebbe did, is coming and giving us shefa brachas, a light, an extra energy. That's why we feel a good vibe tonight, right? You're feeling it? You're feeling it? There's a good vibe tonight. A good energy is strong, right? And it's somewhat of an intense energy. It's not just the good wine and the good desserts. There's something in there. So it's his energy is being revealed from above to below, and it's Yeshua. And not only that, it gives us strength to continue the growth of all his work, meaning that like it's still growing. All his work, like it's like he planted seeds. That's the Alter Rebbe, whatever he did, planted seeds, whatever your grandmother did, planted seeds, and it's still growing and growing. With much, much more strength after he passes away or she passes away, as a result of the planting, all his deeds and his work and his Torah and his service that he did during his life. So all his lifetime is like a seed being planted. It's growing and revealed after he passes away. That's what the Alter Rebbe writes. And it grows and grows and grows until we have the growth of the Geula Amitit Shlema, the true and complete redemption that will be through Mashiach Tzidkenu in our Zeh, B'dorenu Zeh. The Rebbe says it's in our generation going to happen because we're the last generation of Galut, last generation of exile, the first generation of Geula. This is a mantra that the Rebbe repeated in the last 2 years of his leadership, that we are in this final generation of Galut. We are going to have in our generation the Geula. And he brings also quotes from the previous Rebbe that all the times for Mashiach to come have been already reached, all the like dates, Kitzim it's called, and everything's ready. From Hashem's perspective, from the spiritual perspective, the world is ready and everything is set for it to happen and to be revealed. Now, in these sichot that I teach, by the way, every Sunday morning, 10:30 LA time, and you can get it on Zoom or you can get it on Facebook. Baruch Hashem, once a week only. I only do it once a week. So these sichot are how to actually really make this geula, all these ideas of like that we want, this positive energy, this forward thinking, this thinking about, how it's going to be in times of Mashiach, not thinking about it's going to be in the distant future, one day we're going to be saved. No, that's not the Rebbe is trying to make it tangible and real in our time right now. How within the galut, within the exile, within the constraints, within the pain, we are actually enjoying and incorporating the Geula in our life. And when we do that, that's what makes it actually happen. Meaning there's not going to be like this one day, all of a sudden, everybody's going to just like wake up and Mashiach will be. That's not what the Rebbe doesn't hold that. He holds that we make it happen in our everyday struggles, our everyday pain, our everyday encounters. Whenever we make it more revealed Mashiach in that moment, that is making Mashiach real and tangible. Because he said, from the perspective of Hashem and the perspective of the world, it's all available and ready. It's just we have to experience it within ourselves. We have to be able to accept that Hashem is revealing himself to us. We just have to open up our hearts, our minds, our ears, and our consciousness to the fact that if we want to experience a revealed moment of Hashem's consciousness, we can do it. We have all the teachings of Chassidut to understand Hashem on a deep level. If we want to tune into it, we'll tune into it. If we don't want to, we'll ignore it, then we'll be in like an exile. We'll still be in exile. So we have that option at every second to make that moment a holy moment and an enlightened moment, a conscious of Hashem moment, and that's Geula. And once everybody's doing that, and everybody has the tools to that, because there's Chassidus available for everybody on the internet, and there's so much available. There's so many tools that people can access to bring it into themselves. Zoom, Facebook, blah, 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 all these things, right? And to a point that, children can learn it, women can learn it, men can learn it, old people, young, everybody can have this ability to transform themselves on their level. And it's not that everybody has to be on the same level also. It's not that when Mashiach comes, everybody will all of a sudden be on the same consciousness. It says we'll all be on our level. We'll all still be learning and developing in our pace. So it's okay not, we don't have to compare ourselves and think, we're not there. We're just everybody, as long as we're experiencing Hashem. And there's so many people out there in the world now who are encompassing teachings of Chassidus in one way, directly or indirectly, and living a more conscious, God-conscious life. And it's becoming more and more normal for it. Like people are really, right? You see it. It's like all over the world. People are really on all levels, in all countries, and all levels of awareness. So it's not something that's going to all of a sudden one day drastically change. It's a consciousness that we're developing every moment, and the more we do that, the faster the whole world will. It has a ripple effect, and the whole world will be in a higher consciousness.
When was that you say?
From 1990 to 1992, all these sikhot. This is what I teach. 90 to 92. Every Shabbat he would speak. Sometimes during the week he would speak. It's 30 years. 30 years. Yeah. And a lot of things that were said then, people couldn't comprehend, like how it doesn't make sense, you know. It doesn't seem like that's a reality. Like it was already the times of the Gulf War. The Rebbe was always already pointing out how the Gulf War is the signs of the Geulah, and the times of the predictions in the prophecies are happening at the Gulf War. And he was showing the parallels of times of Mashiach, the prophecies of the Geulah to what was going on in current events then. And the Rebbe said we have to look at current events and parallel them to see them in the messianic prophecies from Yeshaya and Cheskel. We have to look at it and see it's really happening. If we open up our eyes, the Rebbe was saying, and we look at it, then we'll see that it's really happening. We can make it in our experience. But there were so many things that Rebbe said that we're seeing more and more now that's really what's happening. Like the one that most, for me, most hits is where the Rebbe said, all the nations of the world are going to be, the nations of the world, I don't know if he said, he said the nations of the world are going to be asking us and begging us to make peace with them. Like they're going to be asked, and it's going to be from them, not coercive control. And we're like, what? It doesn't look, it doesn't look like that's happening. It seems like it's all political wrangling and bargaining and bartering, and nobody really wants to, and you have to twist people's arms. And now we see it's really happening. The nations of the world are coming on their own, just wanting peace with Israel without wanting to grab their land or get something, make the Jews suffer for it. They just want to have peace, to have good relations and have economic feelings and learn from them and enjoy the Jewish people's light and knowledge and information. So that's what's going on there. So it's all how we look at things, and we get more of a lens. And these sichot really have helped me in my personal life so much. It's called Valmalchut. Yeah, and it's the Rebbe's talks from 1990 to 1992. There's 2 volumes of this one. There's another book that has it in 5 volumes with a lot more footnotes and stuff. And they have it in English also. And it takes study because it's very concise, a lot of very high concepts also sometimes, and you have to kind of reread it and new ideas, a whole new way of learning that the Rebbe hadn't done before. New ideas that innovations, almost every sikha, there's new concepts, new ideas, new innovations, a new way of looking at things that had never been in history of the Jewish people. So you have to what's that really saying? You have to reread it and reapply it. So I'm going to give you one thing over here, which I taught a little bit on Sunday, but every time I teach, I'll say it. I'm going to concise it, so it's not going to be the whole long. I did it in 45 minutes on Sunday. I'm not going to do 45 minutes now. So I'll give you a synopsis, just a little, and it's an amazing. I'm just going to give you basically an overview of the Sikha Pashat Be'era. It's the Sikha from this Shabbat that's coming up. Okay, and this Shabbat, the Rebbe says the Shabbat Mevarchim. It's the month. It's the Shabbat that we bless the coming month, the month of Shvat. The month of Shvat, there's another Hilulah. There's a Hilulah of the previous Lubavitcher, then the 10th of Shvat, which is also a very big day. Maybe we have to make another Farbrengen. Farbrengens are done all over the world. It's a big day on the Chabad calendar. And this Shabbat blesses that. So we're preparing for that right now for this Shabbat. And it's a Shabbat that is going to bring down blessings for the whole month and the whole year, obviously. So this Sikha, and I'm just trying to just give it to you in a real nutshell, is it's also an amazing concept that the Rebbe brings, a new concept, which is mind-boggling. I didn't even get it until I read it this basically yesterday morning before I had to teach the class. That's when I prepared it. And I was like, this is what's the Rebbe saying? It was unbelievable. I never heard this concept. The concept is that we had the forefathers, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. they kept Torah on their level. It was a very wonderful high level, but it wasn't the same level as Matan Torah. When they got the Torah on Har Sinai, it was an even higher level, because what Hashem did on Har Sinai, which hadn't been for like 2,000 years, I think it was, till from time of Adam Arishon until Matan Torah, I think was 2,000 years maybe, approximately. Yeah, it was like 2,000 years. So there wasn't this kind of revelation. What happened with Matan Torah? Hashem made it that people can receive godly revelation from Hashem through the Torah and through the mitzvot, intangible physical things, so that we make a bracha on wine, the wine becomes holy. We make a farbrengen, all the flowers, all the tablecloths, all the paper goods, all the food is elevated, it's holy. The Zoom, the computer, the phone, this everything, Facebook, is all getting elevated, it's becoming holy. This is bringing, if we're using it for Torah and mitzvot, this is something that was not possible in the times of like Abraham, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. They were just able to spiritually connect with God, but the spiritual worlds were very disconnected from the physical world. Now we are able to make physical, our physical bodies and also our emotions also elevate our love, elevate our fear, elevate our tenacity, elevate our gratitude, everything to a higher level of consciousness and service and holiness. And that was made possible in Matan Torah. Now, there makes a big chiddush, the insight is that just like till Matan Torah, there was a huge gap, right? All of a sudden, a huge jump in our ability to bring godliness down into the world in a new way. That same difference will be when Mashiach will come compared to what we had in Matan Torah. Meaning that same, this like kind of all of a sudden high revelation that was never before in the world, that's what's going to happen when Mashiach comes. That's the revelations that we're going to have. The revelations of times of Mashiach are going to be way beyond what we had in Matan Torah. And that's what it says in Yeshaya, I think it is, that Torah chadasha miti titzeh, a new Torah will come out for me. What does it mean, Torah chadasha? Torah doesn't change. But the insights and the revelations of Torah will be so profound, so essential, so deep, it'll be like it's a whole new Torah, it's a whole new way of seeing Hashem. And like I like to explain it like the way I see it is like right now if we do a mitzvah, like we give tzedakah, we do a thing. Right now we're learning Torah, there's godliness here, but we don't see the godliness. We can maybe feel a little bit, it feels a little good, but we don't have the super high consciousness or the sense of Hashem's Hashem awareness so much. When we have Chassidus, we feel it a little bit more than if we don't, but it's not totally revealed. The more Chassidus we learn, the more we can actually sense the holiness. But when Mashiach comes, it will be totally clear that Torah is Hashem, revealing Hashem. Hashem will be clear. Every mitzvah will sense that it's a real revelation of godliness. It will be tangible. It will be like that. That's real life. The rest of the stuff that we do will just be, to help us connect to Hashem, and we'll feel that. It won't be like we have to like work hard at it. It will be like, that's for sure. Everything here is just here to help us serve Hashem. So it's a whole higher level of understanding and relating to Hashem the times of Mashiach. But how does that happen? And that's the other chiddush that the Rebbe makes. It happens through us struggling. Maybe you don't want to use the struggle, but we're handling all the reality of a physical, tangible world that covers up on Hashem, that conceals God. So when we're struggling or we're dealing with painful things and we're dealing with not understanding Hashem and not seeing Hashem and not relating so deeply to Hashem because there's so many obstacles or distractions or tests or things that don't seem to fit with what we think is good and best for us and right. All this working and trying to reveal Hashem into every little situation that we have is actually what is making the vessel and the ability for us to be able to have these revelations of the times of Mashiach. Because the whole point is that Hashem wants Mashiach to be revealed and the levels of godliness to be revealed in a physical world. So the more we deal with the physical world and bring godly consciousness into the physical things in the world and the physical struggles that we're dealing with, the day-to-day reality, bringing Hashem awareness to that, seeing Hashem's hashgacha pratit, seeing Hashem's hand, Hashem's love, Hashem's direction, bringing a mitzvah to the situation, bringing an awareness of gratitude, whatever it is that we're doing to make it holy, that is what's making the world ready for Mashiach and a vessel for Mashiach. That's bringing Hashem's light. So that's that's the awesomeness. And the Rebbe says this is just like what the Avot, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov were doing to prepare the world for the time of Matan Torah. If we didn't have Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov doing whatever they did, Avraham was willing to go on the fire, the furnace. Avraham was teaching the whole world about Hashem. They were struggling, right? It wasn't so easy. Tests. All that work that they did made it possible for us to have Matan Torah. So the same thing the Rebbe says, the work we're doing is like the work of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov in their generation, but we're doing it in our generation to make the world a vessel for the revelations of Mashiach. So every time you're struggling, every time you have to put a lot of effort, a lot of concentration. You need to focus more on your davening, come to shul when you don't feel like it, whatever it is that you help somebody when it's hard. Those are things that are making the world revealing, because we're doing it for Hashem. We see it, that we're conscious at that moment that Hashem is the reality, and Hashem is real in our life, and that's bringing the revelation of Hashem into our life, into our physical life. So that is a synopsis of. Okay, so do you have any questions, my beautiful audience?
You can see nowadays, you can see things are really happening very close to Mashiach time. First of all, if you look on the internet, YouTube, and other place, you see how many Rabbonim are bringing proof of the Tanakh,
Yes.
Torah and the Levim and all this, and Haskell and Yeshayahu and whatever, that this we can see are happening now what they were predicting before. That's number one. Number two, even the Corona. What did the Corona do? We started having Zoom. It's more classes. Yes. People didn't go out to shiurim so much before. Now with Zoom, everything is available.
Yes.
You can look it up. You can, associate with other people on the internet and whatever. So the internet, from one side, people say, oh, it's no good, but it's bringing a lot of goodness and awareness, okay, for anyone that, even in Israel, you have the Kabbalah Center, that, you have a lot of people that are not from, that are very interested. Kabbalah is really Hasidus. Everything, if you listen to some of the speeches, okay, of the people that are getting, hundreds of people are coming to the Kabbalah classes, and you can see it's that, they start with the Keter and Gura and Malchus and all this, and he says, people should put on tefillin, and people should, why should, even though you don't understand, why is tefillin so important to you? Because it brings the heart and the mind and the heart together, okay? And this really makes you more aware of doing mitzvahs. This will bring you closer to doing the mitzvahs, even though we don't understand. I mean, it says to put it, feeling, whatever, but a lot of things are starting to make a lot more sense nowadays.
Yes, thank you, Tova. I hope people could hear you on the Zoom and on the Facebook. Well, it was on. I don't know if they heard you though. Yes, thank you, thank you. Okay, so since you're Shadchan Tova, right? Since okay, since you're Shadchan and the girls here, there's a bunch of girls here who we want to get married. We will. I'm going to bring you from the Parshat just a little thing the Rebbe says about the shidduch of Yitzchak and Rivka. Okay, and this all of us should get married. All the women who want to get married, everybody should get married. Who needs to? It's the right shidduch, a good shidduch. So, the Rebbe mentions, right, in this Parshat Vayera, Avram sends his servant Eliezer to go look for a shidduch for his son Rivka, right? And he finds Rivka. So they don't know who the shidduch is going to be. He sends them out to go searching, and he gives them all this money, and he gives them all these camels, and he gives them instructions, and it's a big deal, okay? It's a whole story. It's a long story in the Torah. It takes a lot of Torah portion. A love story, yes. And okay, so what? Yes. So love at first sight. Okay, yes. Anyway, so which we can't expect everybody to have, but okay. So what happens? The Rebbe talks about it from a spiritual perspective. First of all, the whole concept of a shidduch is why you're bringing two separate things together. You're uniting two different things together. And this is the whole concept of the reality of this world. The way Hashem created the world is that He's beyond the world. God's godliness is really above and beyond. He creates a world this feels disconnected. And the whole goal is to bring Hashem and connect Hashem into the world, draw Hashem into the world, bringing higher things beyond the world within to the reality of the world. And that's like a shidduch. We're like, every time we're doing a mitzvah, we're making like a shidduch between Hashem and the Jewish people. And it does say in Matan Torah, when Hashem gave us the Torah, it was like our wedding day. It was a day of like a wedding. And really, it also says another place that really that wedding, though, was just more like an engagement. That Hashem gave us, He started the wedding process, but it wasn't fully consummated. The consummation of the wedding will really take place in the times of Mashiach, when Hashem will be one and united with Hashem in such a way that we'll feel Hashem and we'll experience Hashem consciousness constantly, organically. We'll be like one with Hashem, like a husband and a wife are one. No separation. Right now, we don't feel 100% close. We feel like a betrothed bride who's getting ready to get married, and we know we're going to get married, and we're trusting that we're going to be connected to Hashem. But in times of Mashiach, we will be actually feeling Hashem, sensing Hashem always. Like that's it, like a husband and wife. So that's one thing of the shidduch. Another thing he says, he had to. The shidduch didn't come so easy. It didn't just like all of a sudden Avraham Avinu said, "I'm ready for a shidduch. Hashem send me the shidduch." No, he had to put a lot of effort. He had to go and it says he gave Eliezer all his money, and he said this, showed him that all his money is going to go to Yitzchak his son, and he can show that to the bride's father that he's got money. He gave him all these camels. He traveled far. It was hard work, and it had to be done also through Eliezer, who was not such a high level. He wasn't from Avram's actually household. He was from outside. He was from a lot lesser level family. To symbolize, the Rebbe says that the shidduch process has to be done with somebody who comes from like a lower level of consciousness, also somebody who's like not as holy as Abraham. Meaning, it had to be drawn down into this physical world and in intangible reality of this world of things that it showed that the shidduch had to involve the physicality of this world and the mundane parts of the world, not just holy. And that symbolized the concept of bringing Hashem's high revelations into this physical world. And so through the servant and through him working hard and through all these physical things, that's how the shidduch came about. So the lesson we can learn is don't give up. If you're looking for shidduch, put your efforts and keep putting the efforts, and don't give up and say, well, if Hashem wants me to get married, He's just going to send the Prince Charming, right? You put the effort, make it happen, and that every part of it happen is bring Hashem consciousness into that reality that you're dealing with at that moment. So that is the mitzvah of getting married, and the full marriage will be with Mashiach, and I do believe we'll all be in the Beit HaMikdash together dancing. So very soon. So and hi Shkedia, hi Ariella, hi Pearldina, Achman. So
Hi, thank you so much.
Hopefully we'll be dancing tonight. I hope we have energy after all this wine and sugar, not sugar, healthy keto desserts that Chef Tal Berkovich made, that we will be able to dance with all this energy. And Tal, I want you to tell about your grandmother, okay? You want to and tell how you, yeah, here in the Zoom. Yes. Oh, you're so beautiful. Come. I'll stand next to you if you want. Yes, come. No, look, you have to just straight ahead and everybody will see you. Yeah. Yeah, Tal is going to tell us how her grandmother came to her in dreams and helped her become religious after she passed away. So this is her yortzeit tonight. And here. Okay, come, I'll stand next to you. So, okay, I'll start you up. Okay, come here.
Hi.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, there's not that many people on, but it's being recorded.
So I'm just gonna look at my friends.
At your friends. Okay, good.
More
That's
comfortable
better.
for me to
Okay,
share
sure.
something.
Yeah,
share something
sure,
so personal.
Yes. Okay, good.
Even though I love whoever, Ariella, I love you. I just it's weird to
yes,
speak
to
nothing
computer.
like
Yes,
to computer.
Okay.
So so today my grandma 7 years ago she passed away and she raised me. She was like basically my mother. I love my mother, but she was like, grandmas, like you always feel more comfortable with them. They spoil you, they never angry at you, right? And
I'll meet her.
sensitive, everything. So I can say, I guess I was totally secular, even though I don't believe any Jew is totally secular, because we all have a Jewish neshama and we all do some mitzvahs. But I consider myself a secular. I grew up in a secular environment. I didn't go to religious schools, just like, like in Israel, I grew up in Israel. Traditional, but not religious. And I always felt like there's something spiritual more than what we see. I didn't know what it is. So like I was traveling, I went to India. I was like, meditating. I love crystals. I was like collecting crystals since I'm a kid, but I always wanted more. I just didn't know what it is I want, what my soul wants. And when my grandma passed away, something really crazy happened, basically. The time she passed away, I was in the gym and I just finished a workout and I went to the sauna and to shower, and all of a sudden something hit me. I felt all of a sudden like emptiness, like there's a black entity getting into my space, and I started crying and I wasn't sure what happened because I had an amazing workout. I was there with a friend of mine. We planned to go for lunch after. And I started crying and I felt death. I don't know how to explain what death is, but I felt it that way. I felt like I'm losing it. I couldn't stop crying. And I even finished in the gym, and after I showered, I went out and told my friend, I told him, I don't know what happened to me. I started crying and I felt like I want to die. I have no idea what happened. And he was like, yeah, whatever, you're hungry, let's go eat. Went eating, and like 2 hours after, my mom called me. It was already like morning in Israel, and she told me my grandmother, I'm emotional, my grandmother passed away about 3 hours ago, and she just woke up and, she heard the news. So apparently my soul felt that my grandma passed away at the same time it happened in Israel. Obviously, I bought the first flight going to Israel. I didn't make it to her funeral because you're not supposed to wait with burial. And it was Friday as well. She passed away Friday. So they couldn't wait for me, but I didn't make it for the Shiva. And at the Shiva, I was just with my parents, and yeah, it was obviously like challenging. Then I went back to LA. And I just went to the beach with my friends, probably like two weeks after my grandma already is gone. And there was a shop on Sunset. I used to love buying like candles and essence and stuff like that. And I went to, somebody else is coming.
Don't worry, just keep going. I'll keep my eyes open.
I went to buy candles and essence from that shop, and I didn't even look at the teller. And hi, Cyril.
You don't need.
Okay. I'm just saying the story about my grandma. Okay, so basically, I'm going to the teller and I wanna pay for whatever I just bought. I want to pay for the candles and the essence I bought, and I didn't even look at the teller, and I'm taking out my credit card, and she's telling me, you have a ghost. And I'm like looking at her. I was like, who are you? It's like, you have a ghost. Your grandma is here. She's not at rest. She's like walking from one side of the room to the other side of the room, and she never been here, and she's telling me she's not from here, right? She's not from here. She never been to LA. She's here only because of you. And I'm like, I'm shocked that like I didn't even open my mouth. She couldn't know I'm Israeli. She couldn't know I'm not American. She's like, you need to give her attention because she feels very lonely. She never been to LA. She's here only for you. So you just understand she's with you and she's here. And I'm like, I just don't know what to say. I'm like, who is this lady? How she knows my grandma just passed away? she actually can see my grandma here and my grandma is here. So I'm telling her, but how come she's here? She have other grandkids. And then she says, it's because you're the only one that is not in Israel. And so she worries about you.
Wow.
And I'm the only one that left Israel. All my family is back in Israel. So when she said that, I'm like, and then she said, you're not married, right? I was like, no. So then she said, she's here to make sure you're going to get married. And your husband going to be made out of gold, not mud. And I was like, okay, that's totally my grandma, because she knew what she wanted and she knew what she wanted for me. So she was like the kind of woman who goes for what she wants, and she doesn't take no for an answer. So that was weird. And that's not the end. Then probably after 2 weeks, I'm having a dream that I'm not going to show exactly what I dreamt, but my grandma basically told me what's going to happen in the near future. She told me exactly what to do in this situation. And I woke up and there was like a smell of her in on the pillow.
Wow.
Which does really freaked me out. But like by now, after what this lady told me that I have a ghost, I'm like already like, okay, that's real. That's real what's going on right here. So then I learned how to live with an extra energy of like a guardian angel that is with me. And then she came again in a dream after a couple of months crying. And she was really sad and she started telling me certain things that she wants from me. And I didn't understand this dream. So I called my mom and I asked her, is everything okay with grandma's grave? Like she's asking for things, she's not at rest. And my mom say, Tal, you know what? This is not my mother. It's your father's mother. Call him. So I understood something is wrong. So I'm calling my father. And my father's like, Tal, I don't have time. I'm at work. I was like, no, Dad. I'm not going to have another horrifying dream like that again. She's not leaving me. Tell me what's wrong. Something wrong in her burial, like in her grave. We did everything correctly? Now you need to understand, I was like totally secular. I had no idea whatsoever about halachas, about burial and like what's happening after somebody is dead. I had no idea. So basically, after, my mom was kind enough to tell me, Tal, maybe Dad didn't tell you, but nobody told Kaddish on her grave. Now, you need to understand, I had no idea what is Kaddish. I didn't know how to hold a siddur. I didn't know you need to say Kaddish every day in the first year. I just didn't know. And she was like requesting it. She was a Holocaust survivor. She came to Israel. She got married with my grandfather when she was 16 in a kibbutz. My grandfather coming from like rabbis, like his grandfather and great grandfather was like a big rabbis in Romania, but they were been through the Holocaust and they kind of, they suffered from the Nazis and they came and they were like, we don't believe anymore after what happened to us. And she always wanted to do more. My grandfather didn't want her to do anything beside, candles and kiddush and stuff like that. So she started coming to me and teaching me halachas of what I need to do for her soul to be elevated. Like she wanted a kaddish. So I didn't even know anyway, I called my uncle, who was a rabbi in Holon in Israel, and I told him the situation. And he told me, okay, we need to basically get somebody to do a Kaddish for her for the rest of the entire year. So I did that. She also requested me to do like a menorah, like a candle for her in shul, like Ner Tamid. So I did it for her too. And then she requested other things, but basically I get to the situation where my grandma teach me halachas when I sleep. So when something like this happened, you can't basically sit there and you understand that there is afterlife. There are something happened with your soul after you pass away. This is not just what you have in this lifetime. There's more than that. Then I start learning and investigating more and more than I studied, more than I wanted to do. So this is why today, basically it's her yahrzeit, and for me, like she is really my guardian angel. So I wish her an aliyah, and I really hope she rests in peace and she's happy with whatever I do for her, because really I owe her big time.
Wow, I'm glad we can be part of this. elevator. So
Okay, so
Thank you.
Now give us all about
Yes.
Here's your wine. Give us about
Bracha? Me?
Okay.
And she should just return already.
Yes. Okay, that's a good. Oh wow, I can't wait. Seriously, I can't wait for Mashiach to come so I can be with her again because there's not a day I don't miss her.
Can you imagine the reunion when you get to see her and you get to say, thank you for teaching me everything?
No, I want to hug her so much. I want to tell her everything, like in physical form. So yeah, may we all have Mashiach coming soon and Tchiat Metim. And
She's here and she listens and she makes snackers for you.
Yes.
thank you.
Give us all about shidduchim.
Yes, and all of my girlfriends here that were kind enough to come and share it with me, and with the Alter Rebbe, Irtzeit. Thank you for being here, and I wish all of us to get married soon with an amazing shidduch that even my grandma will approve, and she's a hard one to approve. And I really want to dance in all of your wedding, and may we all build a happy, healthy Beit Ne'eman B'Yisrael. Amen.
Amen. I want to thank Tal, because Tal, you're an incredible soul. And Tal had all this evening tonight, she just had this vision. She said, no matter what, it was raining, pouring today. The rain stopped for you, I think. It was just, we thought of us on the 16th. Tonight is the 24th. So how many days did we prepare? Like 5 days or something? There was Shabbat.
Yeah.
Well, there was Shabbat, and
Right.
we didn't know because of COVID, and we didn't know what it was going to be. It was a whole. It was a lot of, and Tal kept her eye on the ball. We're doing it. And it happened. So, Baruch Hashem, it's like one of these, like.
Oh, and another thing my grandma gave me, it's like after she passed away, she was an amazing cook. My grandma was an amazing cook. Like she managed the house, like she was the best housewife ever. And I was not like very good in like cleaning and cooking and stuff like that. After she passed away, it's almost like she gave me some of her essence. She gave me some of her trades.
Yes.
And like all of a sudden, it's like I love cooking. I actually went to culinary school. You know, like I'm a chef now. I love cleaning. I love managing a house. It's like almost like she really gave me all of her, like strength and character traits. So
whatever she gave you and you have, you're bringing it to the next level of holiness, because she gave you the energy of the physical energy maybe, and you're taking it to use it for bringing, for learning Torah, for doing more mitzvot. So you're elevating to the next level, and she knows that you're going to make that happen. So that's why she should keep giving you all the bachot, download all these things until and to you and to your kids, Bezat Hashem, you'll have a husband, you'll have kids, you'll have everything revealed good in brachas, with plenty, with honor, with dignity, with love, with holiness, a beautiful holy home. Lots of kids. Bezat Hashem. Amen. L'chaim. So, Meital, our dear friend Meital is here tonight. Her first time in our shul here, so Meital is going to sing with us, right? You're going to lead us in song. Yes, that's what we made up Friday night. Yes, you're gonna. Well, I'm gonna turn off the Zoom and the Facebook, but
Yeah, but I'm not singing tonight.
She is a singer.
we're gonna sing together. Didn't we discuss it Friday night? Didn't we say that we're gonna sing tonight?
I think we can all sing.
Yeah, we'll all sing together. Yeah, we'll all sing together. Okay, is there anybody, before we start singing and I turn off the Zoom and the Facebook, is there anybody from the Facebook or the Zoom wants to say something, or anybody in the audience want to say something? So I'll put in another plug for my 10:30 class on Sunday mornings. Every Sunday, Bezat Hashem, 10:30 Pacific Standard Time. We learn. It's on Facebook Live for my name, Yehudit Eichenblatt, and it's also on the Beis Chana Zoom. So please join us this coming Sunday. And I'm going to say goodbye for now for the Zoom and for the Facebook, because we want to sing and dance. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Ferdinand. Thank you, Shkeria. Thank you, Ariela. Thank you. I'm not sure who's on Facebook. Thank you. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Next time, hopefully you'll come. Okay.
Good